Hi, English. We'll continue in English. So, how many of you are related or linked anyhow to QA? I mean, from work in the past, or still working, doing some job, etc. Can you raise a hand, please? Okay, okay, good. So soon this will become a QA club, not a DevClub. So, today we'll be speaking on this topic, the business, how it gets evolved. That will be linked to the technologies and as well linked to the industries. The market's being changed within many years. I will also speak about the customer perception because from my perspective this is the main driver for quality. Because quality being yesterday, quality being today, good or bad, is all changes continuously. It also changes based on where you are. So, first about myself, I'm Pavels. I call myself QA Generalist. It's basically when you do everything and know nothing. But overall, I mean, I just had experience in QA in many areas. I have been working as a test manager for big projects and being in the agile area, being a Scrum Master, product owner of QA services. Also was doing the such transformation journeys in agile. I also did the setup of security test center of excellence for one of the clients. Also did manage the performance automation teams and as well as having the Baltics QA department in my organization. So currently in Cognizant, and yeah, Cognizant, by the way. It's basically the consultancy company who don't have their own products of IT, but they deliver services for other clients. That's enough. I'm a solution architect of QA. Basically what I'm doing, I'm not in actual delivery for any clients. I'm more like there are different companies all around the world who are facing some challenges in IT. They seek for such consultants like our company or similar companies. You still saw them on the screen. And basically I'm helping to shape the right and customized solutions of quality assurance for their needs. Is it some migration project, is it building some new completely app, or is it something else? So today's agenda will be about emerging the business. I will describe that, what modern customer wants, basically in line with those business changes. Then what is quality, how to assure it in the right way, and then some of the transformation pitfalls if we will have time. So first I want to give a very simple example of how the business were changing from year to year, so and how the customers perceived it. So first of all, let's look on the screen on the simple doorbell. So this is how it looked in the past. Then we have added the electricity on it, and that's why in the beginning we were enough with the mechanics who will go and install it, and now we can actually need it later than electrician to set it up. Then it got merged to more, let's say, wireless way with some more functionality, and we have added the software on top of it by visualizing it on camera or through the voice. And then nowadays, I mean, everything got changed a lot. So customer now is not just enough with that someone coming in my door, near my door, and I can know who are they. They actually now become more like security gadget, where you actually some person comes, bells it, and then you automatically receive some notification. So basically, there's everything: IT, software, hardware, physical connected to digital, etc. So this is just one example of how the products have been emerging from years to years, from history to today, and then first moving to the emerging technologies. So let's talk a few examples of the technologies. First of all, we all know that there were multiple triggers every century which made us the evolution as well. So we all know the Kodak company who were dominating the photography film market in 20th century. Then suddenly they have not very successful anymore in 21st century. The reason of that is because they were not ready for changing their business model and going to digital. Later, the vice president of the company told that actually they were the first one who have built the digital camera, that they, due to being afraid of how this will impact their domination of the market in the photographic film, actually didn't release that. So, and we know what is the problem with that. So basically, that's why we have this problem that if you will not innovate, your business, your technology, your product might die after some trigger or change in the industry. 4G to 5G. So first we had 1G, we talked about the telecommunication. That all was about the calls and talk. Then 2G appeared, that was more for messages. 3G was all about you can now search internet somewhere not being at home. Then 4G came, that all was about the speed. But you still must probably remember for the 4G times when you wanted to play some game, you still were going and putting your LAN cable into your computer to get that latency or etc. better. So this is the region, and now 5G have appeared. So that was, and that is not only about the speed, that was mostly is about the zero lag, about the latency, and then now that opened a lot of things for an industry, such as imagine wearing the headset and doing the surgery somewhere in another side of the planet, self-driving cars where data transition is so important to be live as much as you would be standing in front of them. But of course, when the great technologies comes, great crime comes together. So we have a cybersecurity which have been initiated and become even more important due to coming the emerging technologies of IoT, which have been accelerated by 5G. So the big aspect today which many clients and businesses around the world are facing is about the regulatory compliance. We have tons of different regulations on the banking side. We have a lot of regulations such as GDPR. From a QA perspective, you all know most probably GDPR from test data management, right? How you manage the test data on your own environment. So, but then the hot topic nowadays is AI, right? And I will not be speaking today about that. Most probably in all the sessions you heard was all about AI. So, but I want more to speak about the regulations. There's so much impact can happen if we go give a freedom for AI. AI can make decisions based on some data. AI needs tons of data, which means that that have to be regular somehow. We have so much big data flowing in internet, in companies who regulate them. However, we need to put on top of it some regulation of how to use it, in which moments you can use it, etc. I will also want to give a few examples about the industries. So we have the e-commerce, which actually it's not the future, it's today, right? We call it e-commerce to m-commerce transition happened in the past. This graphic is simply showing that basically the biggest portion of the purchases in the retail area is done through the mobile phone. It's already done and it's continuing. So we had tons of revenue and shares coming in this area as well. But I just want to give it from my example. So I had one retail customer who you must probably know him. It's basically they reached us asking. We were doing the customer-facing application development and testing for many years, and we would like you to look into and innovate, review it, somehow improve it. So what basically when I came, I started to analyze them, and then I realized that, okay, they have a test automation, they have a regression scope, which they are automating, which they are running go around. But then what I realized is that they had 5% of the test cases running in mobile apps. Then I did some analysis and analytics, which is openly available in the internet, and then I realized that 70% of their purchases happening through the mobile phone. So the question, why you do the design of IT on web if you are mostly using it for mobile? Why you need those so much time to adapt the web front-end design for a mobile? Why you do the testing of the customer journeys and business processes, focusing on a web, if almost all your customers soon will be on mobile. So that's basically saying that the IT industry is not ready for where the other industries like businesses are already a long time back. We have recently released big players in the market, latest augmented reality and virtual reality setups. The latest one just in October released Meta and Apple one. I would say that they are biggest competitors nowadays and will be. Even Meta, let's take an example, when they were Facebook and suddenly some Meta thing appeared when you're scrolling your feed, right? And then many people who might not be so much into the IT, they have realized that, yeah, why they're doing it? But that was all the business model they have initiated in the past, right? So they knew where they are going, they knew the future. When it comes to the metaverse, initially those headsets of VR were mostly about the gaming. Now we already see the multiple industries, markets, businesses adapting the metaverse for their needs. It's like online shopping. Most probably you have heard somewhere that funny thing where the guy was going to the store in the VRs and then with his leg just push something there and there were a lot of bottles dropping down and they had to pay for it, right? Of course it's a joke, right? They shouldn't. But yeah, but I mean, this is where the e-commerce and also the retail will be. And then in October 11th, Mark Zuckerberg have issued video. I don't know how many of you have seen it. That's, I would say this is opening new reality, how the metaverse can be used with respect to the communication as well. That's not only area, we have all industries are actually getting onboarded. For example, recently we had the RigaCom conference, maybe some of you have been there, and I have gone to one, I have seen there one guy with whom I worked in the past, and then I asked what you're doing here. He told me, we are doing the startup and we are searching for investors for vet doctors. So basically they have, through the virtual reality headset, have set up the trainings for the vet doctors to be ready for some last certification, whatever. So basically they could wear the glasses and they take different roads and connect them, etc., etc., so they can actually play in reality to be more prepared. They don't need them anymore to just read the books for theory. They now actually can go and try the things. But of course, I mean, that all was very fresh. The headset was old, right? And then the visualization was not good. However, imagine how much they can achieve if they have the right investment. Right? Automotive, I decided this is the last industry thing because I'm passionate about the cars, about the electric cars especially. So how this now is, it's all about the safe driving cars. It's all about being the in one network. So it's not that the cars should feed the data of nearly driving car and improving that analytics, etc. for future decision making with respect to self-driving or whatever accidents. So, but automotive also can be looked from a multiple aspects how they had to change. For example, is delivery. So they started with the online shopping of the cars. Someone 15 years back would be really wondering, I mean, I will be buying a car through the online, right? So Tesla have made the cars the way that you don't need to look at anything. If you like Tesla, then you will buy it, right? You don't have alternative for it. But then also logistics actually. So you now you can purchase and then you don't need to drive anywhere. And then after some few months, in the past, of course, it was the chip shortage. It was much worse. But nowadays, it's like a few months you can get your car delivered to near your house. Brembo is a great example for a car braking, right? How they had to change the model of their selling, right? In the past, basically, you every time you create cars were faster, so you need better ventilation, you don't need to overheat, and that's why you are creating better and better and better brakes. Then suddenly when electric cars appeared, right? Well, it was probably known, but the thing is that for electric cars you need to change brakes the earliest 80,000 kilometers when you drive. The reason of that is because it has a recuperation, which means it's braking with the engine, right? So imagine that now Brembo is not so demanded, because I can give a very simple example. When Audi have released the e-tron Q4, they actually put there inside not the disc brakes, which nowadays is norm, but actually put the old brakes from I don't know, Zhiguli type of the car. And everyone was like, why? I mean, they told, why we need to pay extra money for it, right? We can make it cheaper. And then we have a lot of charging station, charging networks, and then I like this company a lot. I'm following its business a lot, the Chinese company NIO, and they have completely changed the mindset of charging, right? So what everyone's saying in the market, we don't want, I mean, for a fuel, right? When you put the diesel or whatever, benzene, right? You go in the charging, in a station, and it takes you 2-3 minutes to get filled, right? With the electricity, you need to sit there, spend the money on buying a coffee and something else, and then you don't need to wait that. So they have changed that mindset. Now they have proposed the battery swap mode. Basically, you come, your car gets up, and then within a few minutes, it's going to change whole battery, puts new one, and then you drive. Right? So basically, how they changed the mindset at the moment. So now, basically, industry changed, technology have changed, and then of course customers' expectation of what is good, what is bad, what business should do, etc. is also changing. So that's why I want to tell, before moving to how to ensure the quality, you first need to ask, what is the quality? So I want to just simply ask you very quickly, I mean, which is more tasty, left or right? Which is better? Which quality is better? Sorry?
Left.
Why?
Because it's tasty.
Okay.
We don't know. It seems tasty.
To
It
whom?
depends. Pictures.
To whom depends. Very good point. This always depends on, because I can give example and scenario for you. You are driving to work, you have 5 minutes left, and you're driving near the, I don't know, plaza, and then you go upstairs and there's a restaurant where you can get this one, or a fast food place where you can get this one. I mean, at that moment, most probably don't have time to wait for 1 hour to prepare this one, right? At that moment, you want to eat and you will eat something like that, which means that you it's based on how much time you have. Same about, most probably this one you will not be eating every day, right? I mean, I hope that all of you are very rich, but most probably will not be able to allow ourselves to buy it every day. So this is also a reason, there's a cost, right? So basically, there is no one formula for good or bad. It's all about the requirements which you need to fit. It's all about the fitness for use, for what you will be using, and as well as the time and cost. Those are main drivers for quality being in a product or the software as well. So what modern customer wants is not anymore that I want the button to be pressing, right? This is what we usually test in functionality or functional testing, right? It's not about that anymore. So there's so big competition in the market that nowadays the reputation is very important for products when you're choosing it. Right? The trends, as well as how simple is to use. And then natural, intuitive, the digital, emotions. That is more than just that it's working, that it's working fast, etc. It's all about the feeling. Imagine you taking the phone and, I don't know, I see the audience here is not very young, right? I mean, sorry if I'm... yeah, but it's not like we are 18, 17 years old, right?
We're all 24, you know, we're just not
yeah, exactly. Sorry if I got someone's emotions. Yeah, but basically, and even us, we are having already some expectations when you search the social media, when you search your product, right? You have some expectation that, okay, I will swipe to the left, most probably, from left to the right, most probably will mean that I will go back, right? That's also, when I'm scrolling, I have some pop-ups should not appear in the front of my screen, so I cannot see everything around, right? So we have some expectations, but imagine the next generation, that will be kind of hard-coded in their DNA. So they will have this natural body language so automated that they will not even think. They already have the expectation, the minimal requirements for that usability. Same about the privacy. That is really strong thing now. You know, those cookies accepting, etc. Yeah, so you know a lot about that. Next thing is about, there was one moment, I don't know why it suddenly disappeared, but in LinkedIn when you were scrolling, there were like every day I get some 10 of those. Which one is user-friendly interface better, this one or this one, right? But that's of course awesome way for the businesses to get feeded with information about different age and different gender, what they prefer better, that or that. But what it means, it only means that there is no one answer, right? Some of the people will answer that. If you are a woman, you maybe will answer it this way. If you're a man, you can answer a different way, etc. That all depends. Also about the performance. So we've done some, there were done some psychological analysis about perception, what means fast, what means slow. That's all depends on for what reason you're doing that. The video games, the artwork, and then of course you have 2-4 seconds means acceptable for browsing in somewhere and purchasing something, but then 14 to 15 seconds and more is actually mean that you have a harm and possibility that you will lose that customer. That was from performance. From security, it's basic two questions have to be asked. Why they need my address, and then of course the product provider should always, nowadays it's a norm that they collect as much data as they need. So they should not, like in the past you imagine those forms, big forms where you're entering everything but without understanding why you need my address if I just want in future to browse your products, right? I'm not purchasing anything, why you need my address, and you're not delivering anything to me. It's one thing, and then also usability of the data. Thankfully, it have to be transparent nowadays. So they actually should provide all the information of where they're using the data. Of course, it's our problem that we're not reading it, but yeah, that's a different thing. And then accessibility, I like to call it equal opportunity, because that is all for the disabled, for colorblinded people, is that they should feel themselves the same way as everyone when they use the application. So it's must-have. And by the way, it was before this, like a few hours back, it was 2.1, because I was using it for last presentation. But actually, I Googled, and in 5th of October, we have new standard release 2.2. So just for your information. And now quality. So we have one last year. There were released a report who we were part of, my company and myself personally. So Pavels Group is the world-leading analyst, have done some research about what means the future enterprise quality. By the way, it looks something like, I will show it later, yeah. But basically what they say is that nowadays it's not anymore testing, it's not anymore assurance, now they believe that as an insurance to avoid the future problems. So it's something to be done proactively to not come in the trouble later when people and your customers are starting to use that. So this is a very simplified picture of what means product quality. Basically, the main idea here is that you need to look on that from a multiple aspects. So I'm sorry that I'm giving for you testers that, right? But and developers as well. But basically, main idea, if someone here doesn't know the details of testing, this is very simple. So developers trying to build it, tester trying to look on the requirements and try to say that yes, it's actually not working. Then you can look on the quality testing from multiple devices or platforms and latest, because you know the devices nowadays are so quickly made everyday new ones. Then we have a performance, and then we have very user-like usability as well. So how error messaging if something is wrong is done, etc. Then I just told about that future enterprise quality. This is a report done. So and it's not just my or my company's opinion or someone. That is actually Pavels Group have collected information from a lot of companies in the industry. So the leading ones. So that is overall opinion of the market saying today. So basically what they say, when we had independent testing, I will later explain a bit more of what does it mean. Sorry. Then we move to the concept of quality assurance. And nowadays, it's basically everyone is moving to the business assurance. So this is not now trendy word, next trendy word. So, and then of course, maturity spectrum have been changing from the moment to moment. And the percentages basically simply means that how organization, the big organization nowadays are actually there. So there are still 9% of the organizations who are still on independent testing. Most of the people, of course, are there, and there are still some, as me working for big clients and the big markets in all around Europe and US, I definitely see that this is now a trendy thing emerging. So every client is trying to relook on the way how they deliver the quality. They don't call that anymore testing. Also how the quality is set up as a function in their organization. So they try to make it like a bit different way. So main idea is that independent testing was all about the monolith being a separate team. So we had the testers, mostly it was done manually, of course, from period to period. Then we become a quality assurance, where we started to assure something, not just test what someone told us. And then that was accelerated all about the agile, running automation means just for agile, because you had to deliver product more often, and you had to somehow, you cannot put the 20 testers every week to do it. And then integrity in a DevOps, different thing. And then now, if it passes with a tester, then nowadays it's a dev kind of together working as an engineer as one embedded team. And then business assurance, it's namely about what is objective for this testing. So it's basically ensuring the value of the business. So it's not anymore the separate functionalities working. It's not anymore that our product, which we together deliver as a team, is working. Now, I mean, it's all mostly focusing on end-to-end testing, not on the system level test, because the development methodology and software development lifecycle, etc., is so much emerged. We have so much different tools and automation which can developers actually are delivering better and better products every day. And then it's now expected that developers are actually having also mindset to the testing, etc. So it's actually the way how it was before the testers, it's not anymore required. So now that's why, but still we need to look someone on end-to-end. So client business is asking us to deliver some kind of functionality or build some new product, right? The business assurance don't ask any more questions of is that application working. It asks a bit different question for what business processes or your organization, customer journeys, it is actually required nowadays. That's why they focus on end-to-end. That's why they always are questioning with their test cases about the value which will deliver business. Yeah, and then talking about the skill sets, it's mostly called about SDETs because it's quality become a consultancy nowadays. So we left the quality to business. We try to challenge the requirements as such. We're not validating requirements anymore. We're trying to challenge the requirements in the moment when business is describing them. Because we become SDETs, we become specialists in industry, we become specialists in domain, and we are not just testing anymore the code which would develop with someone, but asking for what reason this product is needed, for what reason this test case is needed. And then business assurance is, that's why I told innovative engineering mindset that is all about the consultancy. First time right means that we are trying not anymore wait to understand the quality till the moment of the testing, but actually we're trying to embed and integrate the quality already in the very early cycle. We have advisory-led solutions. We try to focus on next-gen QA. This is all about the trends nowadays and how the quality is emerging. It's also about AI involvement in QA, because you know most probably there's AI for QA and QA for AI, right? So this is more about the AI for QA, how we can accelerate, how we should, just before the session, discuss with my ex-colleague about the ChatGPT usage, etc. So it's something similar. So how you can accelerate your work every day through the AI. And then that all should be enabled by full stack quality engineers. You also cannot call them SDETs. You also have this partner ecosystem, because nowadays the products, the tools should not be built from scratch. There's always some smarter guy sitting there who already can build something better. So this is the reason why this partner ecosystem, to partner with someone and go together with some solution to the market, is something where we move. And then community of practice, this is also a trendy way of telling that we are having innovation stream and we are having some forums between our specialists. It's another thing. So the setting equality, so how the quality engineering is evolving is basically, you should think from 3 aspects. So you first set the foundation, set the fundamentals, which means the quality, availability, compliance, and modernization of different applications. Then you have a digital assurance. Digital assurance basically means everything going to the cloud, everything has to be quick, it's all about the connectivity. And then we have phygital, it's basically not a mistake, it's basically physical connecting to digital due to the IoT appearance, focusing to the experience and end user for clients and customers to be how they use the product, how they believe in that, etc. And then basically that way we move from IT assurance to actually brand assurance, which is in link with the business processes, which I described before. And then here are the main aspects quickly. So quality and compliance are now assured through the business process assurance, which I told is end-to-end. It's focusing on the compliance for regulatory, right, to have a sign off that yes, it's good or bad. And then also about the quality of end-to-end. Then we have nowadays very popular things as cloud migrations. We have modernization, which means I'm going from the old platform legacy to something new and better, etc. Right? So we assure the modernization level. And then automation, nowadays it's not anymore as perceived as regression automation or in-sprint automation, right? It's more about continuously running testing and automation in a pipeline. So that is about running the quality at speed. Robotic test automation, this is about real end-to-end. Because when we, for example, have a manufacturing, etc., we call end-to-end from a moment something gets triggered on the digital, basically on application software, and from that moment you start to measure the quality. So robotic means it's a 24/7 fully zero-touch automation. We also bring automation, compliance, and validation through some checklists, etc. And then the last one is the customer experience assurance, which is described better here. So this is a 3-steps approach of how belief is set there. This is the reason why I don't call them non-functional testing anymore. Because non-functional testing is about the experience our customers are feeling and perceiving when they're using some product, right? So performance and security, it's just getting the fundamental right. So nowadays it should be a base for having the qualitative product. We should not anymore even ask about that. However, I'm still facing the clients whom it's very hard to explain the return on investment of performance and security. But that's always about how we onboard the customers. Then after we onboarded some customers to our platforms or applications, then we need to have we need to retain them by showing the right experience every time. So bringing some more level of different types of testing. But then, if we ask the question how to make them loyal, how to basically, after clients are there, you should not anymore sell or, spend on the marketing or whatever, right? Your customers actually will become your advocates of your product. And that can be achieved only about the post-production analysis, about quality being on shift right. Shift right means that we analyze the emotions, we analyze the feedback customers are giving about the product, etc. So I'm nowadays advocating a lot about quality is, you don't test and then just deliver a report. Actually, quality should be also ensured right. The simple ways of doing it is through the analysis of the incidents, root cause analysis, right? The better way, of course, is hyper-personalization testing, is also running the emotions analysis in all the social media about what people tell about your product, etc. So continuous improvement of the product. That only we can really get that wow experience from the customers. And here's, I told before about robotic 24/7. There are multiple cases where we really need it. Usually it's done in life science, where first of all it's very important that you don't make any people mistake. First thing, second thing, where you really need to run it 24/7. This is just one example how robotic, because you know in the manufacturing you have those robots which are automating, for example, the, I don't know, cars creation, right? They put the engine themselves, etc. So this is also a way how we embed robots to the quality, about opening, closing doors 100,000 times. Like this example is, there should be very precise decision, actions done, and we also need to have the regulatory it's called GXP. It's basically that you need to record every action you do. So you put the camera on the robot and it's done 2 different scenarios and then records every small step. Also, you cannot know if you, in a life science, if you do it one time, it got past the green scenario, right? Doesn't mean that tomorrow it will be done. So you're trying really to many times to do the same. So this is the reason why we, and then robotic, it's not just robot doing, and then we move everything to automation framework. Because that's actually should be end-to-end integrated with it if you really have a zero-touch, fully end-to-end automation, which is usually, we call end-to-end automation something different. So, and then moving back to the reports, basically says that the value they deliver is better, 1.5 better strategic business outcomes. It's everything, time to market, it's like all the possible benefits you can imagine. Also, the hybrid quality operation model is basically, if we go back to independent testing, quality assurance, and business assurance, basically it says that we should not deliver any more testing being as a part of the separate unit. Also, quality assurance says that we should have integrated quality as a part of the agile cross-functional teams or DevOps teams, right? Business assurance is telling that we need to build centralized enterprise level in an organization, some central unit of the quality who will enable other teams. So we still have testers as such as a part of the DevOps teams, but they need to be enabled. You need to ensure that they are not, for the same reason and same problem, not using 20 different tools because that guy came yesterday from a market and told that this is the best tool. Now another person said this is the best automation tool. So it's very important that we have one solution for all organization, different teams. So this is what it says hybrid. Hybrid means you have central unit who thinks about the strategy of QA for organization and enable other teams to actually do it. And also keeps those communities of practice, etc., to ensure that the right skills at the set in the organization. This is where basically it shows in what it says in short. So, as I told, hybrid structure, then we have a few comments around the expertise about the specialists being in the market that I already told. It's SDETs, it's more consultant people rather than testers or etc. And then investment in partnerships and yeah, something else. So basically, if we see that the trends are moving to that direction, it's really hard sometimes to change ourselves. So maybe you have seen this picture someday, but basically my main idea that when you ask, I mean, let's move then now to the business processes, right? Where actually I see the value that there on organization level, there will be some architect who can always support me with his or her experience to enable and pick up the automation tool, because I'm quite junior in the team, I'm only automation tester in the team, right? So how to make a right decision in that area, right? So you'll not Google, you can go to someone who is centrally thinking about the decision. So the biggest, and then you think that everyone wants to change, so let's do it, right? Usually when you start to ask who wants to change themselves, right, to be able to fit the change, usually you have less people, and then who wants to lead the change is actually no one's there. So reality result, if the plan was that, then reality is like that. And then biggest reasons of any change management. And I'm not here to talking like a business guy, right? Who is I mean I have experienced myself being as a part of the automation or performance team. Well, where I mean it's really hard to you really know the best solution, but no one is listening to you. That's why we need to understand their problems. Usually it's a budget, it's time, and also we don't have anyone to drive. That's why I was always forcing my people to say, yeah, but then go, do example, present, and get the business case, and then you will always get accepted to it. Right? You first need to show. That's why we need those heroes who will drive it. And then commitment of the stakeholders, priorities, to have a dedicated budget. So that's why you need first to build the business case before doing it. Having the right skills, otherwise I have seen those transformations like Agile, one organization where they told them today will be Agile, and they're like, oh, what means Agile, but we want to be there, right? So people need to be ready for it. People need to have that mindset. Organization and business as well need to have that mindset to be able to support that process. So, and also last but not least, I mean, it's very important to understand that we have our goals, the same as we have a multiple quality perception, what means good or bad, and that's why from other angles things can look different. Thanks a lot. I'm very welcome for any feedback. feedback.
Just maybe a question out of nowhere. Maybe it's not a question, a discussion. I've seen that you were talking about the loading times and that customers are waiting for application or service to be available instantly, almost. But when it comes to some AI solutions right now, they still require some power and time to be generated. So I don't know. For example, that HeyGen tool that allows to translate on another language along with the video, right? So I don't know, maybe from your perspective, are customers still ready to wait, or technology still requires to adapt so fast to be enabled into this process?
Yeah, very
otherwise it won't reach top right now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this, but maybe there's no sense.
Yeah, very interesting question. I mean, I can honestly tell that picture was old. That was more about the product, web page perception, how the clients is perceiving it, right? So that don't apply for nowadays technologies, right? But no, I don't think it's ready. This is the reason why I always say that those technologies like AI, etc., are actually emerged and created already many years back. They were always waiting for people to be ready for it, right? So now it's a trial period, right, when they apply. And I would say maybe how to improve it. It's more about, that's why AI is just a technology or just a tool for you to do something, right? But then when you build your product, or for example, translation, right? You will customize it for language versus language translation to Spanish. That way you're reducing the time of the generation, right? Because it's searching only in database of English and Spanish, right? So this, and constantly search, learning with it, right? So I would say, short answer, no, not ready, very slow, everything, but then when you use that technology for your product development, you should be smart enough to understand who is your customer, what is the business case, right? If it's, I would better create a separate translator for English to Spanish, separate for English to something, right? Rather than where I would make first model understanding what is the, and then searching in a libraries of the languages.
Yeah, but just a quick question. Speaking of the clients, are they ready to sacrifice this time right now to use these technologies?
Well, let's be honest, business never,
like your experience.
Let's be honest, business almost never cared about the performance, right? When you need to sell them why we need performance testing, you usually spend 1 year of getting the right end result.
Yes, it's not more. It's not a question. It's more opinion about previous question.
Yeah.
In my opinion, AI is currently like a niche product. That's why people are ready to wait for its generation, because that's the product that that's a niche product that they're ready to wait for the result. Of course, there are competition to improve generation speed and etc. But in my opinion, AI is currently a niche product. That's why people are ready to wait for a result to be generated.
Yeah, thanks. Very good addition. Yeah.
I have a question related to your comment somewhere in the middle of the session. You mentioned that there is always a smarter guy who already invented something. Don't you think with such mindset you will start degradation of software development in a while? That everyone will start thinking about that something better already exists and don't think about how to develop something from new vision about it. Like.
Okay, no, it's a good point. So first of all, I want to point that was mostly about the partnerships when I talked, right? So it's about, for example, we have SAP, we have Salesforce products, etc. in the market, which out of the box are already ready for your solution in, let's say, 60, sometimes 70%, and you just customize it, right? So that was moment only about the partnerships when we talk. Overall, completely agree with you. There would be innovation stopped completely in the whole world, but just to defend a bit why I meant like that is that it's of course based on the problem statement. Do you have a better solution or not, right? I told about the problem, about the products which are leading in the world. But when it comes to the small customized solutions, what unfortunately I have experience with, it's automation and performance, that people start trying to overthink. We have some experts who are coming and building things from scratch, but actually that was already solved someday. So I simply say that my experience tells that in most of the cases it is worse to make it something built from completely scratch. Only if you have really customized the problem statement to build something really niche for your needs, then it makes sense. Just my experience. Yes?
First of all, thanks for the presentation, lots of interesting things to think about. You were talking about shift right. about
Yes.
going more to assurance policy for the customer and so on. But isn't it like traditionally the area where product owners or maybe even marketing should work? Didn't you get pushback from them?
Shift right cannot live without shift left, right? So that's why I was telling that shift left is about being involved with those same business people who ask something very early. And that's a very important moment when you align with them that yes, we both understand what means the product which we want to deliver in the end. So we both of you sit and agree that quality, good quality means that, acceptable quality means that, and something else means that, right? So the problem later is that when business receives the product in the end, they either can suddenly change their opinion about what the requirements were initially, or they actually start to misunderstand what it means, right? That's why I thought it's important in the beginning to align, but no, it should not be only business, because for me, as I thought, quality assurance and engineering is more advisory, where sometimes quality assurance specialists knows better because they have more products with other, more experience with other products than even product owner, because product owner owns his own product, right? So sometimes quality assurance knows the industry better even and can work as a consultant. So that's why it's important that also, it's one thing. Second thing, it's important that we don't lose the responsibility and accountability as a tester when we test something, deliver, and then that's all. When I tested, everything was working, right? It's very important that we participate, for example, in analysis on which sprint we have missed that defect, right? Or for example, why we have missed that defect, what kind of, maybe we have set wrong requirement, and then you continuously learn and improve, so next time shift left will actually be better due to shift right.
Thank you.
There's questions.
Yes, sir.
Last question before chocolate.
You have to stay there.
I'm not allowed to go there?
Because of camera.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so my question, you touched different points about the DevOps skills and evolving the skill set of test engineers. So
Yes.
for Cognizant, from your perspective, what would be the perfect skill set profile for you, for example, as manager in Cognizant, how this perfect skill set of test engineer should look like, so this man would be ready for future challenges?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood maybe the question. When you told about me, you mean for my job, what would be the best
Not
skills?
for you, but for people who would like, for example, to be on the wave of new technologies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Let's take engineering area like performance automation separated from functional quality assurance, right? So functional quality assurance, I was always admiring the skills of communication, because I believe that the quality assurance expert should be a central person who should speak with the business, architects, VAs, developers, everyone. Should keep all that. Otherwise, when you test, then you come to the bottleneck that you are doing things too late. Then you find defect, then it goes back to analysis, then a developer says it's not defect, comes back to you, then you reach his architect. So it's better in early stage, just go and do. So that's why this communication for me was always one of the most important skills. And then accountability of that and understanding of what you are testing. So I'm not just testing the scope which I prepared, but there is always some. So my scope cannot be 100% coverage always, right? So I am identifying those critical things, and then only I'm doing some actions with my quality assurance. That was about functional. About technical, I can just say the trends, right? We recently have one customer who decided to move from, I'm talking slowly because I'm afraid to call the customer, who wanted to move from performance testing to performance engineering. This is what is asked now. So now what I see from performance area is that they are expecting, the clients are expecting now that you will not just test and give results as a report, because usually for customers they are not so mature and they don't know what to do with that report, right? But actually work as an advisory and engineering role, where you are also telling to the customer, is it good or bad, based on the best practices, especially a company like Cognizant who is delivering the kind of services, who should say what is the best, right? And second is, of course, they, in the end, explaining and as consulting or how to fix it. Otherwise, you not always have those kind of SRE roles in organization. It's very niche role, which is, by the way, I really recommending everyone to go for. So SRE is a very strong role nowadays and needed, but it's not usually in organization, so they actually don't know what to do with that. For automation, I would say the demanded skills are your ability to work with the different tools, because in the past popular thing was we all go for Selenium, right? Then some new better tool, more scriptless kind of appeared. You go for that always, right? No, I mean you should better know all the possible tools on a kind of mid-level than know one ideally, and then you pick up the best, and then you when you're implementing, you're learning and customizing it for the needs of the customer. My opinion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.